Greetings, listeners from around the world. Jordan River here, back with more Growcast. Definitely a thing you should be doing. Today, we are back with Rhizo Rich for another list episode, 5 things that you're probably not doing in your grow, that you probably should be doing in your grow. We've talked a lot about, things to avoid. We've talked about top 5 mistakes. But today, we're talking about things that you really should implement in your grow that I don't see a lot of people doing, including myself. I am guilty of a lot of these things. So, let me know if you do all 5 and I was wrong. You were doing all these things already. That would be pretty incredible. The email is contact@growcastpodcast.com. Hit us up anytime. We love to hear from our fans. And Rhizo Rich is the guest. Like I said, we got a BOGO going on. growcastpodcast.com/seedco. Just go right there to the website. You'll see Growcast Seedco. And any order placed in the month of April gets a BOGO. Limit 2, dealer's choice. He's passing out some really good packs. Basically, go buy 2 packs. You're going to get 5 in the mail because it comes with the original freebie as well. So it's a really good deal, and members get $20 off per pack. So you might as well join membership before you take advantage of the BOGO. That's at growcastpodcast.com/membership. Get the secret code, punch it in. Now for the BOGO, there is no code. Just go ahead and order in April. We will fulfill it. Limit 2, dealer's choice. Enjoy, everybody. And I know you're going to love today's episode. Before we get into it with Rich, though, shout out to AC Infinity, the best grow gear in the game. Code GROWCAST15 saves you 15% at acinfinity.com. They've got the thick, sturdy tents with the thick canvas and the thick tent poles. The best tents in the game. They've got the fans that you need, the inline fans, the Cloud Ray oscillating fans now. Again, code GROWCAST15 for 15% off. The best quality grow gear you can find. They've also got lights and scissors and pots and hangers and so much more. But when it comes to the fans and the tents, there's no one else out there that does it better. The inline fans, the Cloud Line series, are fantastic. The S series is the simple series. Still comes with a 10-speed fan controller. And the T series comes with a controller that lets you automatically dial in your temperature and humidity. acinfinity.com, code GROWCAST15 for 15% off. They even have grow kits that come with everything you need to expand. Get that second veg tent, get that second flower tent you've been thinking about. Save with the kit and use code GROWCAST15, which now works on those kits, saving you extra money with the best gear in the game. acinfinity.com. They've been our partners for years. We brought these guys along a long time ago. They've really expanded and done a great job. acinfinity.com, code GROWCAST15. All right, let's get into it with Rich. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to Growcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in again today. Before we get started, as always, I urge you to share this show. Turn a grower on to Growcast. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a follow wherever you're listening to us. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. All the podcast apps. I appreciate you guys. And of course, go to growcastpodcast.com. There you'll find everything like the Growcast Seedco, all the events, membership. Everything is up there. Huge special thank you to all the members. You make this show and this community possible. Today we have my good friend, head breeder of Growcast Seedco, expert organic cultivator, and cultivator of all types, really. Rhizo Rich is back on the line. What's up, Rich? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, Jordan. How are you doing, man?
Doing excellent. Excellent.
Love
Just settling in after the Cup. What an amazing event that Cup was, huh, Rich? Did you like that one, the 3rd annual? I mean, listen, they're all amazing, but I feel like we might have outdone ourselves once again.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all amazing, dude, but this one was by far the best. Like, I hate to brand it like that, but it definitely was. There was the usual group of people that we see every year, but there was, a ton of new faces, too, that I'd never met. Just awesome people all around. The entries were awesome. I've been judging, about 2 entries a day. I just tried one this morning that was fucking phenomenal. So you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little burned out right now, but no, they've all been amazing. The edibles have been incredible. I ate some gummies last night somebody made that were they knocked me on my ass. So
yeah, man, the gummies are strong, and the concentrate category is strong this year too. I was always telling people, if you want to win a cup or our cup, probably all cups, you're better off entering concentrate because the fewest people are going to enter concentrate. Everyone's going to enter flower. A lot of people are going to enter edibles. So make a nice homemade rosin and enter it. And then this year, I think people took my advice. There were some good rosin entries this year.
There definitely is some good rosin entries this year. I was impressed by that. Somebody even made a cart That was amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to fire that thing up. I need my
Oh
carts
yeah.
for the road. So yeah, I'm just really excited, man. I'm settling back in. I got this new Bong here in the studio with me, my new co-host, Mr.
The
Bong.
co-host.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. We've got a lot to update people on. An amazing, amazing pheno hunt that is dropping. Actually, at the time of hearing this, we are live, so you're going to want to check it out. We will have a web page up soon, but I'll just tease it here on the podcast. The Grand Pheno Hunt. Rhizo Rich and Growcast Seed Co. present the Grand Pheno Hunt. This is going to be really cool, you guys. It's going to be a community-wide pheno hunt where we're looking for a keeper cut to give to Rich and to have him work with it for Growcast Seed Co. lines. That's kind of the idea. But really what we're wanting to do is get a bunch of people hunting through these packs and winning prizes and having fun. So we're going to have like a massive grand prize, including $1,000 cash, right? The Grand Pheno Hunt. Someone's going to win a grand. But then, Rich, I was thinking, like, obviously there's going to be a second and third. And then I was thinking maybe even beyond that, like 10 or depending on how many people we get, like 50 smaller prize winners. I want there to be a lot of prize distribution.
Oh, dude. Absolutely. I agree. It's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have awesome prizes, like you said. And I do want to make sure we have the badass grand prize, like you were saying, in second and third, but definitely get some other prizes out there. We can do like best ofs and certain, shit like that, like you said. So I think it's going to be an amazing time, dude. It's going to be awesome. And unlike anything we've ever done before. So I think it's going to make it special.
Yes, exactly, dude. And when we do stuff, we try to do it big, like we try to think of new ideas and make it spectacular and bigger than anywhere else in the community. So this pheno hunt is really going to be a massive prize pool. And then it's going to be very, very engaging. It'll be for the members, growcastpodcast.com/membership. You'll get a pheno hunt box that'll be, dirt cheap, and you'll have a bunch of seeds to hunt through. And we will personally go out and visit our top 3 picks and pick the top winner from there. It's going to be a lot of fun, going to be a lot of prizes, and we're doing it right over at the Growcast community. So stay tuned for more. That is going to be dropping. The website will be up shortly, and then we'll probably be launching second week of May, but we have some more hard dates coming. We're still figuring it out as I'm recording this, so stay tuned, everybody. The Grand Pheno Hunt, it's on, and this is something we're going to do over and over. This is going to be a recurring thing, so very excited about that, everybody.
Fuck yeah.
But today's episode is another list episode, another top 5 episode, as I sometimes call it. I'm very excited about this. It's been kicking around in my brain for a while because, we talk about like things to avoid in your grow, things you definitely shouldn't be doing. We support all grow styles, but we want to make people aware of the pitfalls of growing, you know what I mean, to avoid this and that. But today, I'm kind of on a different thought train. I'm on a different tip today because I was thinking with Rhizo Rich, I was thinking about things that growers aren't doing, that they probably should be doing. Now, I'm guilty of this, right? In a lot of different ways, from simply keeping my space clean, right? I should be better about that. Being faster with my runs, having my vegging plants ready to flip as soon as I harvest, getting those in there, getting the seeds popped for the next run. Those are all little things that we could all do better. But I've actually made up a comprehensive list, 5 things that you listeners probably aren't doing, but should be doing. Now, you probably are doing 1 or 2 of these things. If you're already doing all 5, please write me. Please email contact@growcastpodcast.com and say, I was doing all 5 of those things. I will give you a round of applause through clapping emojis, because that would be goddamn amazing if you were already doing all 5 of these things. So Rich, let's get into today 5 things that growers aren't doing, but probably should be doing. You ready to go?
I'm always ready, man. Let's do it.
I want your thoughts on this first one because it was the first one that I put up there. Good way to start. I've talked about it on the show before, but man, dealing with new growers and talking with even beginner and intermediate growers who have some runs under their belt. Watering is such an issue when I'm troubleshooting people. I swear to God, 50 to 60% of the time, it's a watering issue. Overwatering is usually the culprit, sometimes underwatering. So the first thing that I'm going to say you listeners might be doing, but probably should be doing, is using a moisture meter. Buy a moisture meter, and one of the nice ones that measures in pressure, not one of the cheap Amazon ones that gives you an inaccurate reading. Before I go off on pressure and all that stuff, Rich, what are your thoughts on over and underwatering in general? Have you used a moisture meter? Do you kind of like already have a pretty good grasp on your setup, but recommend it to others? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I personally don't use one and never have, but
I knew it.
I totally agree with you in that 50 to 60. I'd say even sometimes maybe like 70, 75% of new growers have some kind of issue with watering. I notice whether it's under or over watering, it can be very hard if you're not talking to somebody in person and can show them how to kind of explain that perfect saturation level over the phone or through text. So I do agree in using a moisture meter. And honestly, I probably would have used one back in the day if I knew about them when I first started out growing. I just didn't know about them. I was on an island, didn't really have access to a lot of stuff back then. So
Literally on an island, not figuratively.
yeah, literally on an island. So I mean it wasn't something I was necessarily thinking about, but I probably would have used one if I did know about them and had access to one. And I do think it's a great idea for newer growers to get one because even if you don't always use it and you just use it in the beginning, you can at least get an idea of how your pot should look or feel when they're at that perfect level, you know? Like you don't
Yes.
always have to use it. You can use it a few times and be like, okay, this is when they look the best and the meter's reading good. They feel like this, or it has this look to it, and you can kind of tell. So it is a very good and useful tool, I think personally.
That is a really good point. And I just want to ask you, Rich, how long have you been growing again? 12 plus years?
Oh man, I was doing it the other day. I've been saying 12 years for years, man. This is like I'm gonna be 37 this year, and I started when I was around 17. So
You're over 20. You've been
about
saying 12 for 8
19.
years?
Yeah, it's been 12 years for years now. So
For a decade
um,
almost.
I think I've been saying about I think it was like 16 years for a couple years now. But yeah, it's actually doing the math this morning. It's like 19 or 20.
That's
So
hilarious. So, how many years did it take you, do you think, if you had to guess, what year in there do you think you actually, I don't want to say mastered, but like dialed in your watering, not using a moisture meter and just doing your thing? How many years in did you dial in watering, do you think?
man, I'm always tinkering with watering, even to this day. Like I love watering techniques. And I talk about certain techniques that can get a little detailed and stuff, my little cross watering technique and all that. It's definitely something that I feel like that first year or two of growing, if you're growing nonstop, that you're going to eventually get it down in that first year, but you're probably going to struggle with it in the beginning. Like I said before, and whether that's over or under, usually it's one or the other with somebody.
That is exactly right. And I agree. I think a couple of years. And then for me, when I switched away from HP, the Pro Mix high porosity, I had to relearn everything in
That's a
soil.
great point. Yes.
Yeah, and I went back to overwatering again for a really long time before I grabbed a Blue Mat moisture meter and actually got a reading in pressure in M bars, which will tell you an accurate reading. And I was like, holy crap, I'm overwatering the soil. I'm watering too heavily to where it's getting too
Yeah.
saturated, and then I'm watering too frequently to where I'm not letting it dry out.
Agreed, man.
So that was a big revelation for me years into my growing experience. So yeah, a change in medium, any of that will totally throw off your watering. It's just
Definitely the change in medium.
it's just one of those things you could easily get dialed in by grabbing, a Blue Mat moisture meter or something that reads in PKAs or in M bars. And there's a good range in there. If you're measuring in M bars, it's like between 80 and 120. That's your range. The lower the number, the wetter the soil is, and then the higher the number, the drier the soil is. So it's definitely worth a grab. If you're not using one, it's like $60. It's the best $60 you'll ever spend.
That's
I
it. That's
really,
about all they run.
oh yeah, I think so. Maybe it's like 70, but yeah,
Yeah,
the Blue Mat moisture meters are under $100, like well under
totally
$100.
worth it.
Totally worth it. They'll last a lifetime. And like Rich says, even if you don't press it every single time you go to check or your garden or whatever, just have it sitting in your soil so that if you ever do have a question or you're like, okay, how close am I? You just punch that number. And then Rich, finally on this subject of over and under watering, I just went through an issue in the plant problems channel with an auto actually dealing with this, but man, container size. Rich, I see growers not adjust on the fly, they're watering enough when their plant starts to fill out the root zone and starts drinking much, much more, right? Like when your
Yeah.
plant's first
Better
established,
water more.
yeah, you're watering way less. And then once those roots establish, you better water more. And then B, once they up pot and there's all that fresh soil, I see the opposite problem. Now suddenly they're watering it really heavy. There's no roots in that new soil and it's just getting oversaturated. So, along with using a moisture meter, I would recommend people really pay attention to their pot size and how established the roots are and make sure you're adjusting your feeding throughout your grow. It's not going to be the same as when you first transplant.
Yes. And the media too, like you were saying, that's huge and important, because if you're changing your media, you're probably going to have to adjust your watering style, or how much you're watering and how often.
All the time, constantly. So make sure you have some sort of frame of reference, because oftentimes you can think that your watering is on point, but really you could be doing much better. So grab a moisture meter and you won't regret it. It's the first thing. If you're not doing, you should probably at least have one of those around.
Yes.
Now, this next thing, Rich, me and you literally talk about this for hours in a class. But, you take a look at how many people smoke now, and that number is huge, man. It's like millions and millions, like 100 million Americans or something, like 80 million plus Americans are smoking.
A lot of folks these days, man.
Yeah. And then you take a look at how many people out of that group are growing. Very few are growing. That's our whole mission, right? How can we get more of those smokers to start growing? That's really what we're going to attack this year and beyond.
Yep.
But then of those people growing, you got to wonder how many of those people are taking the time to breed and make their own strains. And that number is very low. I'd say, what do you think? 1 in 50 growers breed, if you had to guess? Maybe a little higher?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Let me put it like this. This is a really good example, Jordan, and only because we just did our cup, okay? So we just did our cup. We have all these entries. I don't know what the number is, but it's
80
a
people
lot.
were there, and there are
fucking
probably like 60 entries. There's probably 20 plus ones and significant others and stuff.
Out of all those entries, I want to give props to whoever did this. I don't know who did this. One person put seeds in with their entry, like a separate baggie of some seeds.
Huh.
Like, hey, if you like the bud, here is some seeds with it, which I thought was really fucking cool.
You're buttering me up.
Like, how cool is that?
It puts you in a good mood right when you go to judge their sample. That's diabolical.
I mean, not really that, but what if you just love it and you're like, man, I wish I could grow it. It's really cool to have the seeds in there. But what I'm saying is, out of all those entries, only one person, and I'm not saying they're getting extra points or anything like that. I'm just saying that only one person gave seeds. So there's probably only that one. And I know there's probably more people that were breeding in it and just maybe didn't give their seeds. But overall, it's a very low number, like you said.
Yeah.
It's very, very low.
That is a nice little addition. I like that a lot. Yeah. And I know there were a few breeders at the event. But dude, like you said, 80 people in the room. There was probably only 3 people that were like really breeding. I'm sure that there were a couple people tried their hand now and then. I'm sure Vanilla Rice has done a pollination.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very small number. And I think more people are doing it nowadays, obviously, but it's still a very small number.
Exactly. Just like growing, dude. Way more people are smoking and more people are growing, but the percentage is very still small. And then
100%.
Within those growers, more people are breeding for sure. There's a lot of removal of the stigma. Rich, I want to credit you with that as well, and maybe I should, blow a little smoke up my own butt, pat myself on the back here. But I think that we have been banging this drum for a while, years now. We've been banging this drum, which is there's gatekeeping in breeding. People talk down to other people, pollen chucking. All that stigma is bullshit. Anyone can breed. Everyone should breed. I love what Rich says. If you're a grower, if you're a big time cannabis grower, if you're a regular cannabis grower like us, you should try at least once. Just try breeding one time, at least one time before you go. So I think that you have done a lot specifically, Rich, through the classes and through your appearances on shows, mine and others, to destigmatize that and say, no, it is okay for you to make your own strain at home. It is okay to pollen chuck. It is okay to pop those seeds where you had a little bit of intersex. So yeah, dude, I'm proud of you for making even more growers start breeding their own.
Yeah, just have some fun with it and don't worry about what others say. Like I said, if you're growing, you should at least do it once, like you said, just to experience the not just the breeding aspect of it, but growing out a strain that you made by crossing two plants together that you know nobody else has, because those are two phenos that you have, and no two phenos are alike. So you're making something that's super unique. So even if it doesn't turn out exactly how you wanted it, as long as it's for yourself or whatever, it's still super rewarding at the end of the day. And I think every grower should experience that and create their own variety that they can, grow out and smoke. It's just a very warm and fulfilling and rewarding feeling on the inside as a
Totally, dude.
grower.
You're so right, man. That's a really good way to put it. And you're right. Even if it doesn't come out exactly how you wanted, first of all, you're going to have a ton of
Just have
seeds.
fun.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun doing it. You're gonna learn, and then you're gonna have a crap ton of seeds. So you'll be able to give out seeds to people, new growers, grower friends that you know. Go to a local grow shop and package them up and say, "Hey, give these out." That's all like part of the mission of Overgrow. So I love to see like the abundance that it creates, and then also the learning experience. Like you said, it's just a new way to challenge yourself and create something unique. If you have enough flower, if you've been growing successfully, you've been crushing runs and you got a bunch of jars saved up and stuff, why not just do one quick seed run? Give it a try, and then you'll have so many seeds to look through for the rest of your life. So I think it's a great thing for people who, like I said, have established a few runs already. Maybe they got enough medicine stockpiled up, right, Rich? And they can handle a seed run. Absolutely do it.
Yes, I totally agree. It's a fun time. It's a great learning experience, and you're gonna have fun and feel good about it in the end.
Now, here's my question to you, though. With this awesome new feminization spray that's like just so easy to feminize your favorite female and have it spit pollen and make feminized seeds really quickly. If someone was looking to breed their own strain for the first time, I know what your answer is going to be. Your answer is going to be do what you want, but would you recommend they do regs or try fems with this new spray?
Damn, that's a really good question. The spray does make it very easy. So I do agree with you. Do what you want. I probably would say that. But I also do want to say I think that just using a male and a female, you should maybe do the first time you do a breeding project
I
just for
think you
fun.
learn more. I think you
Yeah, I
learn
think
more
you're
with the
gonna
male.
learn. I think you're gonna learn a little more just about timing and stuff, and then you can move on to feminizing if you want. But you know what? There's a lot of smart people out there. And if you want to start off doing a fem project, like I said, these STS sprays and stuff, they make it really easy. So it's not, out of the realm of possibilities that a first time breeder could grab some spray and make some great seeds for
Badass
themselves.
fems. Yeah, totally. So I feel exactly the same way. On one hand, it's
Yeah.
like make it easy, buy this spray, have fun making seeds. On the other hand, I do think you learn more dealing with a male. Just dealing with a male plant through flowering is something that a lot of growers never do. As soon as they see that it's male, they kill it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Yeah, and even a lot of breeders I've noticed they won't take a male for full term, which I love to do. They'll just take them long enough to get some pollen and they're done. I love taking it, letting them flower all to the way to the end pretty much and seeing what happens. So
That's cool,
just
dude.
let a male do its thing and like you said, it's just a cool experience you're not going to probably do many other times because you don't want them in your grow normally.
Yeah, normally you do not. That's true. Everything changes, doesn't it, Rich? Like once you become a breeder, suddenly it's like what disappointed you so bad when you saw those pollen sacs? Like you just be heartbroken. You only had one seed of this dank shit and you pop it and there's pollen sacs and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, you're so disappointed. Then once you're a breeder, you're like, oh, it's like the reverse. You're like, oh, the one that I got was a male. Maybe it's going to be special. Maybe it's
It's
going to be
going to be a good
frosty.
one.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a good one. Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah, you get just as excited, man. I totally agree.
One thing before we move on from here, because I always have like a long winded answer to this one, but I just want your thoughts. When a grower writes you and says, "Hey, I found some bag seed," or "Hey, I had a little bit of intersex." Let's not say that it completely like seeded out like it was a goddamn herm machine, like a pollen spitting herm machine, but they say like, "Yo, I got a little bit of intersex seeds. Should I pop these and look through them?" What is generally your response to that?
My response is, I mean, if it's for yourself and you're not selling them or whatever, then have at it. Pop them, see what you find. You may find some totally fine plants that are awesome. So why not? You know, if you're pondering popping them and it's just for yourself, go ahead. Who cares?
What's the
You
best
know,
herm
I have
bag
no
seed you've
problem
ever
with it.
popped?
Ugh,
It's a good question, right?
it's a
I know
great
there's
question.
gotta be
There
one.
was two of them, and there's two that pop in my head. One, I don't know what it was, but it was from a buddy I got a bag from, and I don't know what the strain was, but there was two seeds in it. One of them popped, and it just came out like super frosty. I couldn't believe what it came out as. Actually kept that plant around for a little while. And then sour Skittles also, I got a seed in a bag of it and popped, and I kept that plant around for years and even did a breeding project with it just for myself. And it was an awesome plant, man. And even the seeds turned out amazing. So you just never know what you're gonna find, man. Like
And
I
when you
said,
popped those sour Skittle seeds, you didn't see increased intersex traits at all?
with that one, I didn't. I
See, that's what
didn't.
I'm
So that's
saying.
the other thing is sometimes you won't really see it, and other times you're gonna see it. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be there like you think it would be.
Yeah.
So I think it's all very dependent as well. That's why another reason I say if they're for yourself and you're not selling them, just go ahead and pop some and have fun. Worst that's gonna happen
Exactly.
is it's not something you like or it's intersex and you have to pull it and toss it, you know?
That is a really good point. And I swear I've heard a lot of people tell this story. And more often than not, it seems like if you outcross those bag seeds, and again, I'm not talking about the one that is just absolutely covered, it's nothing but sticks and seeds. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that good bag of bud that you found like maybe one, two, or three seeds in. I've heard
Yeah,
way
like a
more,
bag of dank you found. Yeah.
totally. I've heard way more happy endings to those than I have like sad endings if you do a regular
Me too,
outcross
man.
with an
And
elder
there's
male.
so many great strains that came from those bag seed, you know? So can't
Yeah, that's true.
disregard it, man.
That's true. So don't neglect the bag seed. Those are two good starting points right here. Okay. Our first one was to grab a moisture meter. If you're not using a moisture meter, you probably should at least have one around. The second one is definitely a must. You got to breed your own strain. You're on the lifelong journey of growing. If you're not already breeding, you probably should at least take one crack at it. Again, if this message resonates with you, if this episode inspires you to start doing one of these things, please write me. Or, like I said, if you're already doing all five, I owe you a prize. But I don't think you're doing this next one, Rich. This is one that I just isn't even on my radar. I mean, I would say I'm slacking on it, but it's not even something I think about that I should absolutely be doing. And Wolfman has brought this up a few times too. Man, us gardeners in our grows, whether especially if we're outside, whether we're in a tent or under these lights or anything, we should be wearing protective equipment. You need a
It's
uniform
true.
to be a gardener. No other job do you just fucking show up barefoot in your street clothes. You know what I mean? What other
Yeah,
job do you
it's
show
true,
up to
man.
in a bathrobe? People should be wearing protective equipment more. I'm talking about eye
Glasses
protection.
for your
Yes,
eyes,
dude, those are ruining your
for these
eyes.
lights. Like you shouldn't be staring at your lights. You technically should be wearing glasses. And then like even like mixing dirt and amendments, you should be wearing a mask, you know. It's not gonna hurt you to throw a mask on instead of breathing in all that dust and shit. And I don't do it. You're absolutely right. I should probably be doing this a lot more. Very rarely do I ever throw a mask on
Dude, that is a
when I'm
great
in the
point.
grower doing stuff.
And there are so many bad things that you don't want to
Um,
be inhaling. Perlite is the worst. Perlite is the single worst thing.
oh dude,
That's
it's
like,
terrible.
yeah, it's like I don't even know. It's like drywall dust essentially. When it becomes small and fine, it's so volatile that it gets up in the air and it's like it is part of the air. It'll go right into your fucking lungs.
A lot of amendments are like that too, man. A lot of amendments, and you shouldn't be breathing them in, organic, non-organic, whatever. You still shouldn't be breathing that
Shouldn't
shit
be in
in.
your
You know,
lungs. Yeah,
it's not good
totally.
for you. And besides that, and glasses and shit, you know, you should be the protective wear should also protect your plants. Like, don't be wearing the same shoes in your grow that you mow the lawn with, or stomp around outside in. And if you do, maybe get like when I worked at animal hospitals, we'd use them for like infectious disease rooms. You take like a cat litter pan, like a plastic one, and unfold a rag into it so it lays on the bottom. And then you put like a half inch of bleach water in there.
Yeah.
and we'd have to like step in that every time before we would go in, and then when we would come out, and it would kill anything on the bottom of your shoes. Well, that was the idea. So you should be,
That's smart.
changing shoes, or if you can do something as simple as the cat litter pan or stuff like that. It's not just protecting you, I mean, that's the main goal, of course, but protect your plants too.
No,
There's a
you're
lot of
right.
things you can be doing.
It's kind of like dressed for the job. And
Yeah.
you're right. Get some booties. There are those sticky mats. Someone brought up the sticky mats that you kind of you step on, so they like pull off any shit that's on your shoes.
Not a bad idea.
I like all of those. That is a really good point. The
Or
two
even
that you
like the
mentioned,
booties.
yeah, the booties exactly. The two that you mentioned, though, I think are the biggest. Those are ones that are going to affect
I
your
agree.
personal health, which is your eyes being burnt out by those diodes. You're like fucking staring at the light fixture. You're like, is that diode out? Like trying to be like a human PPFD reader.
Oh, yeah. I've done it many a times, dude. And you're right. Those two are probably the most important and probably some of the cheapest things you can do, too.
Exactly. It's a one-time purchase for the sunglasses. Method 7, not affiliated. They're a company that makes grow light glasses. I hear really good things. AC Infinity makes a pair.
I didn't know that.
There's a couple brands out there that make, I'm going to invest in a cool pair of glasses. Then I can look cool in my garden too.
I would love to wear them, but I'm so fucking blind, Jordan, that if I put on any kind of like sunglasses, I'm not gonna see shit. You know what? Like I'm gonna
You're
be
blind as a bat.
Yeah, I gotta have like just normal vision, man. If it's any kind of like color change or anything, even the slightest bit, all of a sudden like certain things are missing, and I can't
Whoa.
see them or something. So
That's good to know, dude. That's good to know. But no, definitely a nice mask, a respirator. You really nailed it on that one. When you open those old down to earth amendments, I love down to earth, but you let it sit and dry out for a couple of years, and then you open it up and it's like,
big old cloud of dust hits you in the face. Happens every
fuck that.
time, man.
Don't breathe
Every
that shit in.
time.
And then finally, if you really want to look cool in your garden, those gardening sleeves, the protective.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, dude.
Those are cool as fuck, dude. Why don't we all do? We need some Growcast gardening sleeves.
Those would be dope, man.
We can make that happen. I love the way they look. There's always that Instagram like advertisement clickbait thing where she's got the garden protective sleeves on and she takes one of those garden rakes and she like scratches it against her arm, like doesn't cut her. I don't know.
Well,
why
not only that, but dude, for like, dude, for weed gardens too, like the shit stinks. So like, if you're harvesting and you have to go somewhere, it just helps to like that shit be rubbing up on the sleeve instead of your arm. So then you jump in the car and you reek like a grow room.
Instead of your arm hair, your arm hair is all sticky and matted to the skin on your arm. You know what? You know that feeling I'm talking about?
But yeah, other people might,
Dude, I know that feeling when your arms have been brushing up against colas. First of all, like you said, you reek. You stink like a grow room. You don't stink like smoked weed. You stink like plants.
Like a skunk in a grow room. And yeah.
And then, like I said, it gets all over your arm hair and it's all pressed against your flesh. Your arm hair's all matted and sticky. And you got to like take the Humboldt hands or some sort of like solvent and like wipe it up your arms to get rid of all of it. Oh my God.
Yeah, because it's so oil, man. I mean, that's what like cologne and perfume is made from, is oils, and you're just putting straight oil on you. So you're basically putting like a dab of cannabis cologne on,
Yeah, totally.
Every time you rub up on something.
Stuck on me like those ducks in the Gulf from the oil spill. Got to hit me with the Dawn just to get it off me.
Yes. And some alcohol.
Oh man. That's good stuff though. I this is where I dropped the ball. I've got a moisture meter. I've done some accidental pollinations, but I do not own any protective equipment. Not at all.
Yeah. I got a respirator, but I don't use it.
All right, Rich, I'm going to pressure you to start using that when you mix amendments from now on. We can't get you to use the glasses.
No, I will use it if I'm mixing soil.
Okay,
I will use it. And sometimes I'll use it like if I'm resetting the entire garage or outbuilding, after some runs and shit. I'm going from like 10 to 10. I'll have everything on just because I'm cleaning the shit out of everything.
A lot of that stuff is airborne, man. Before we move on, I will say I just did a bunch of work on this unfinished basement in my new place, turning it into the new studio. And the drywall dust, holy shit.
Everywhere.
Holy shit. I was looking at the ratings on the back of a vacuum filter, and it was going in order of micron size. The dust and debris, like debris and shit, was at the top, and then it was like dust and mold spores below that. But at the very bottom, the finest, finer than mold spores, I got to ask Jason about this, was drywall dust. I mean,
Wow.
it is everywhere, dude. It's completely airborne. You go to sweep it, it just goes up into the air and settles back down later. The
Holy shit.
shit is gnarly. So whenever you're dealing with that type of stuff, I did grab a mask for that. I wasn't going to fuck around. Like, I could see it in the air. You got to have some sort of good mask. Don't just have one of those 2-loop crappy COVID masks. Grab yourself a nice
Yeah, get you
respirator.
an actual respirator with the filters on the sides. You
Fuck
know what
yeah.
I mean? Something that's gonna. Geez, but even then, I don't know if it's filtering out the drywall, but at least it's doing something, you know?
Only HEPA does, apparently. But yeah, exactly. It's not
Oh,
just going,
okay.
it's not going right into my fucking lungs, at least.
True.
It was wild. So be careful. The construction stuff is rough. But the most important thing, like I said, is just think about what type of protective equipment you can and should be wearing. Don't just wake up and stumble into the garden every morning like I do in a bathrobe, you know what I mean? Or like you said, go around the yard first and then track everything in. Dress for success, at least when you're doing the big pushes, right? If you're doing a
Yeah.
big transplant, if you're going to be in there all up on your plants doing work, dress for the job. RootedLeaf.com doing their biggest sale of the year. Code GROWCAST420 gets you 42% off Rooted Leaf nutrients. You heard that right. 42% off. All right. It's basically half off. It's basically getting double the nutrients for the price. And it's this week only at RootedLeaf.com. Code GROWCAST420 saves you 42% and you help us out. So go and do it, folks. If you have been looking to try the amazing Rooted Leaf because you love Nick's episodes, or if you're just not totally satisfied with the perfect health and nutrition and growth rate of your plants, then you have to try Rooted Leaf. Code GROWCAST420, 42% off. You can grab a starter kit for dirt cheap right now and get started with the best nutrients you'll ever use. It'll be the last bottle you ever buy. And the reason is because you don't need to pH it. Works great in soil, living soil, hydro applications, cocoa, you name it. And we love Rooted Leaf nutrients. You know the episodes with Nick. You love the episodes with Nick. How deep he goes, how seriously he takes this stuff. And now you can really stock up. If you're already using Rooted Leaf, stock up for the year. Code GROWCAST420, 42% off. It's the biggest sale of the year. Just go ahead and make that purchase. Stock up on the jet fuel for your plants. You will not regret it. I've used it inside, outside, soil, living soil, Pro Mix, whatever, and it does really, really well. I love it, and we love what Nick is doing over there. So one more time, rootedleaf.com, use code GROWCAST420 for 42% off your order of Rooted Leaf nutrients. Thank you to Nick and Rooted Leaf Nutrients. What else we got here, Rich? We got two more, and I think these are both good. This next one is simple. I think everybody should have some sort of option. I'm just going to throw it to you almost right away, though. A lot of people hand watering still. I love to hand water. Hand watering is great. Gets you in with your plants. It's fun. You get to learn how to water all that stuff. But if you only hand water, you kind of can't leave for the weekend ever. You can't enjoy a vacation. You can't go out with the wife, weekend in Vegas. And you just kind of become stuck, tending to your garden. So one thing you should probably be doing, or at least have on hand, is some sort of automated watering system. Something where you can implement a watering system and leave for 2 to 3 nights and go enjoy your life outside of your grow. Rich, you've tried a ton of automated watering. What have you learned upon all your trials?
Yeah, I've tried a couple different ones. I've built my own systems out of pumps that, like I was telling you, you could put 50 plants on or whatever. It's got enough power to water everything. And honestly, these days with Amazon around, it's very easy to go that route and not spend a ton of money. You can get 2 really good pumps for $30 a piece, some hosing, and you're fucking set, You really don't have to spend a bunch of money on a nice setup. Now you just have to know how to make it. That kind of style will work great. You just hook it up to a timer, get some good pumps. I use like a 35-gallon trash can and put the pumps on the bottom of that.
Run some hoses too, some emitters. Do you do the spray
Yep.
emitters or the drip emitters?
I do the drip ones and let them drip with that system, but you can do any kind you want. You can do the spray, you can do the drip, whatever floats your boat. But that way it works really, really well. And like I said, you can use that kind of system long term because the pumps are going to last a while usually and have enough power to water a ton of plants. And then I've tried other systems like these ones you can go on Amazon look for like vacation plant watering systems, and usually they'll tell you they'll water like 10 to 20 plants for like a 20 or $30 thing. And all it is like this little box, and it has a tiny pump in it. And like the interface for everything is on the box too. So like you can set the timer, everything on there.
Hmm.
And they give you these really thin like hoses with little drip emitters basically. And you can hook up about, like I said, it says 10 to 20. I found that you can usually get about 10 plants on it, and then that pump's just not powerful enough. So it really depends on the size of your grow. If you just have a couple plants, that would work great. That box you have to put over the reservoir, because on the bottom of the box, in the middle of the square of the box, there's this little nipple that the hose runs down from into the reservoir where it sucks water up. And then there's another hose on the side of the box where it pushes the water out through the pump. I would recommend sticking the reservoir like not all the way on the ground if possible, just because the pumps aren't super powerful. So if you can get them, mid level with the plants or whatever, that would help. Otherwise, that pump may struggle.
But that box, there's just a bunch of those. Was it a specific brand name, or can you just find like?
There's so many different brands, dude. And that's the thing. Like, you really need to look at the different brands and look at all the reviews and see
Yeah.
what people say, because some promise these things that you look at and you're like, well, that would be kind of difficult to do. Like that doesn't really make sense that it's able to do that with such a small pump. So just make sure you read reviews and make sure that you're looking at your grow and making sure that the size matches up with the kind of system that you're going to get. Like I said, if it's a small tent, fine, go with the Amazon thing if you want, especially if it's just like an out of town thing. I did use those that one time that, if you remember not long ago, I went out of town for,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think it was either 5 or 9 days, and everything worked fine. So I didn't have bad luck with it. But once again, the hosing is so thin and small that if you were to use that long term, you're going to be constantly cleaning it out. That pump's probably going to fail. I don't think that pump's really meant to be running all the time. I think it is more of like a vacation thing, even though there are people in reviews that use it. That's how they water their plants with it, their house plants. But yeah, overall, there's a ton of different options out there. If you want to go out of town, you could build your setup, like I said. Oh, the other one, there's a third one. The little like blue mat carrot drip emitters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
I've used
listen, the blue
I've used
mats are
those as
nice,
well.
but there's a lot of those knockoffs on Amazon. Have you
There
used the
is.
knockoffs, and do they seem to work pretty much exactly the same?
Yes, I bought the knockoff ceramic carrots, and I think I got about 30 or 32 of them for like, it was a crazy price. It was like $30 or something. It was like $1 a carrot. All of them came. None of them were broke. I did see in the review one lady's like, two of them were broke. None of them were broke when I got mine. I threw them all over my beds because I was using them in my beds when I went out of town. Just spaced them out everywhere. And then these are the carrots that are gravity fed. So it's just a carrot with a
Oh,
hose.
like the classics.
Yes, there's just a line coming from the carrot, and that line sits in a reservoir. Now that reservoir needs, once again, cannot be below the plant or it's not going to feed the carrot.
Yep.
It needs to be at least at the same level or a little bit above. So what I did is I would get like empty 1 gallon jugs of whatever that was in a 1 gallons, clean it out, and then I would put like 1 to 3 carrot hoses into each gallon, and I had those gallons just spread out all over my bed. It looked ridiculous, but I was going on vacation, and as long as they got watered, those things fucking kicked ass too. I came back. That was a 9-day trip. I was really worried about that. Now I was in huge 150-gallon beds, so I probably could have watered everything and just left, and they would have been fine. But these plants were pretty big. They needed to be watered, I think, more than. one time while I was gone or whatever. So I did throw the knockoff blue mats up, and those things work great too. So really, you could use any of those systems. It's just, do you want something that is super reliable, like the homemade system that
Yes.
it's not going to cost you that much, that you can continue to use, or you can just wrap it up and use it again later? Or do you want to have the cheap one that probably will work, but I don't know, with a cannabis garden, if everybody's willing to put their trust in a $20 machine that has everything built into it? Because if it fails, you're fucked. I have a little
Yes.
bit more faith in the pumps on a timer.
I think that
Um,
goes the same for like a knockoff brand versus a name brand, right? Like
so true.
obviously we love Sustainable Village and like we want to support them, but I'm here for you guys first and foremost. If the if the knockoff carrots are all you can afford, we want to see you growing, right?
Yeah,
But some people are going to have a little bit more, like you were saying, trust in like, okay, if something goes wrong, I can call the company. They'll help me design my shit. A lot of times with Amazon, it's like, oh, we'll refund you, send it back, but you're not going to get a hold of anybody over it there. You know what I mean?
yeah. Good luck with that. Good
Good luck
luck
with
getting a
that.
hold of somebody for
But
sure.
at
A
the end of
lot
the
of it's
day,
copy.
it's about something you can afford and it's about something that's reliable. That's the word that you use. That's because what's the point of investing in a system and then leaving town and then it breaks or it floods? That's the worst case scenario. I
Exactly.
should have just let them fucking drought. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of different methods and ways. I think, like I said, you really need to weigh out how many plants, how long you're going to be out of town, your setup, stuff like that.
And how much risk you can
How
take,
much are
really.
you willing to spend in the
Yeah.
risk as well? And how crafty are you? I mean, really building a setup out of a pump from Amazon and some line in a reservoir, that's literally all it is a res. You throw the pump in it with the line coming out, and you run it to your plants. It's
Yep.
not. Some people think it's a lot more in depth or detailed than it is, but it's really not. And anybody could build a really nice setup for cheap. You don't have to buy a super expensive pre-made Floraflex system or whatever. You
Yes.
can make the shit at a quarter of the price with the exact same parts. So
And then I will say, if I can take a different approach, everything has a fail point, right? But there is one watering style that I think is the most foolproof. And I mean, really is a style that we're pushing hard moving forward this year. Again, we support growers of all gardening styles. We got more on that later, but the sub irrigated planter, dude. The
oh yeah, they're
sub
great.
irrigated planter. An Earthbox is a brand that you can buy for $45 or whatever. The Earthbox is nice because it's a standard size, does really well in like a 3x3. It's got casters on the bottom. They're not partners or anything. It's just that's one of the sub irrigated planters you can have. And the sub irrigated planter is exactly what it sounds like. You don't water the soil on top. You pour water down this tube. The tube fills a reservoir in the base of the pot. The roots grow down through the soil into that reservoir and they just drink from down there. Once they're big enough, they exclusively drink from down there. And what this means is you can fill up that reservoir and then walk away for 2-3 days, depending on the size of your sub irrigated planter or SIP system.
Yeah,
I,
they're nice.
I do want to say, Rich, we just dropped a resource last month in membership, which is how to go to Home Depot, grab those big tough totes, those yellow tough totes,
Oh yeah.
convert that right into a SIP system just with a few items at Home Depot. It's
That's
actually a
awesome.
little bit cheaper than an Earthbox. They're about the same price, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit cheaper than an Earthbox and it's much bigger. It's a bigger volume of soil. It's a bigger reservoir and it allows you to leave for a little bit. Sometimes those earth boxes get filled out and you're watering almost every day anyways.
Oh yeah,
You can build a bigger one
I've
yourself.
seen that.
Yeah, and then you can leave for a weekend in flower and you don't have that problem. So shout out to moderator and member Barry who put together, he loves these systems. He made a bunch of them and then he put together a resource for our members. Again, hit me up on any platform or email me contact@growcastpodcast.com. Tell me you want this resource. I'll give you 30 days free so you can check it out. But no fail point, Rich. There's no pump that can go out. There's no carrot that can start spitting or pissing.
No.
There's no line that can pop off of a dude. The sub irrigated planter, I believe, is the most reliable version.
You know who else does a good one? They sent me a bunch of their, I guess, kits or their products. Is a company. The website's growtechgarden.com, and it's
Oh,
GROTECH,
yeah,
I
we know
believe.
GrowTech. Yeah.
And they make this system, and they send, all it is it's 3 pieces, and you can take any 5-gallon bucket and you drop the first piece in the bottom, and that's going to be your irrigated reservoir at the bottom. It's like an upside down cup thing, and then there's a hole in it. You put the second piece, which is the tube that just comes out of the soil, and then the third piece is this green thing that sits in the tube, so it actually lets you know how much water is in your sip and if you need to add more or not. So you don't have to like look down in the tube or feel it or anything. Like it
Whoa, that's
literally
cool.
bobs up and down. And they're super cheap. So like I said, you could turn any 5-gallon bucket into a sub-irrigated planter or a hempy bucket or whatever people are calling them these days. And it's super simple. Like I said, it's 3 fucking parts. I've got a couple here and they just absolutely kick ass. Just super easy to use. I know other people that use them and their gardens always look fantastic using those sips. So they are an awesome way to grow.
Yeah, the GrowTech, I don't want to speak out of turn. When did you get those? Was it a while ago or was it really recently?
I had contacted them a few years ago and they sent them to me.
I think they may have gone out of business. I could be wrong, but there was a auto watering
they
system.
Possibly could have.
Yeah, that everybody was loving. And I think Cocoa for Cannabis teamed up with them and they were doing good. And then, dude, you know how it goes. So many good products. You know what
I'll
I mean?
look it up right now and see if they're still on.
It might have been a different.
Yeah.
I remember it was tech. It was something tech.
I think it was a different GrowTech.
Was it a different GrowTech? It might have been.
There was,
because I think it was TEK, not TECH.
They're still online.
Okay, good. I just wanted to check.
They're still up. GrowTech, the sip irrigated ones are.
Nice.
They're sold out right now though.
Oh, words out, secrets out. He produced the episode. It's already sold out.
Yeah,
dude.
$39.99, I believe, will get you 3 of their inserts. So you can make 3 buckets. So they're about like 10, 12, $13 a piece, basically, for the inserts. Looks like they have a Shopify store.
There you go.
Yeah, there's another GrowTech gardening company that's GROTEK, and they make nutrients and shit. That's confusing. Maybe that's the one that went out of business. I remember them too.
Yeah, I heard that name and it made me so many brands too. There's a lot of my brain at this point after almost 10 years.
I know, right?
So
you've been saying 10 years a long time.
No, I've been saying 10 years for 10 years. It's a good point.
You've been saying 10 years for like 4 years, bro.
Oh, it's true.
I love it.
Listen, guys, you should have some sort of system. You deserve a vacation, okay? You cannot just keep watering the garden, hand watering every single day. You got to take a weekend off and don't put it on your friend or whatever to come over and improperly water your plants. Set up a system that you can walk away from, even if you're not using it.
Disaster, by the way.
Yeah, totally. Even if you're not using it all the time as your main way to fertigate your plants or water your plants, just have it there so that you can actually go and enjoy yourself.
I agree, man. Too many people can't get away because they're worried about their grow. So
exactly, man. Oh, and we have one more. I was just going to close out the show. No, we have a really good one. Yeah, we got time for this. The final 5th thing that you probably aren't doing, but you definitely should be. You should check out a different growing style. You should try a different growing method. And I've got a lot of reasons why I would suggest that. Rich, you're a guy who grows in different ways. Why would you recommend people try a different growing style? And what have you learned doing completely different styles?
I got a few easy, obvious reasons to try something new so far as styles go. One being that if you look, it's great to have your system down and know what works. And I have my own system down, and I always have some stuff on the side that's a quote unquote a for sure thing with that. But it's always fun to keep things new and fresh just by trying something new and trying a new style, because growing can get boring and kind of turn into a job if you're doing the same exact thing year after year after year. So it's just fun to try new things. There's constantly new products and companies coming out daily in our industry, it seems like. And the other reason would be that, when you experiment and try things out like this, you may find something that works better than the regimen that you're using, possibly. it happened to me with organics and synthetics. I thought I had everything down with synthetics, and I went to organics and was super impressed and switched. So just do some experimenting, and maybe you'll find something that ends up working better for you, or maybe it's just keeping things new and fresh for you in the growing game. Like you said, there's many different reasons, but those are the two main, I would say, that somebody should experiment and have some fun with.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. I like everything you just said there. You're absolutely right. Opening up your kind of perspective and your horizons will result in you learning more things, hands down, point blank, period. We don't really learn a lot from our successes. Like you said, like doing the same thing year after year. If you're fortunate enough to really have dialed in a style and you're just like crushing run after run after run, it can get monotonous and you can get to a state where you're not learning anything throughout the course of an entire
Oh, it
run.
definitely does. It definitely can get like that.
You're on autopilot kind of. And listen, if people got busy lives, right? If that's not something, if you're not into gardening the same way that we are, and this is a smaller aspect of your life, God bless you. But I will say, if you are like us and you're constantly trying to learn in the garden, you're trying to develop as a gardener, trying new things, or specifically what it really is putting in new limitations is what makes you grow and learn and get better. In fact, this is a common rule in creativity, which is constraints, like the constraint of not being able to use your preferred style, make you have to get creative and problem solve and learn. I will leave you with this little anecdote. You know the world famous Dr. Seuss children's book, Green Eggs and Ham?
Yeah.
Did you know that was created on a dare?
I did not.
Dr. Seuss's friend or colleague basically dared him and said, you couldn't write a book only using 50 words, meaning 50 total words in the vocabulary, right? You can't use more than 50 words. You can reuse them and rearrange them, but you couldn't write a children's book only using 50 words. And Dr. Seuss accepted the challenge. The constraint of only being able to use 50 words made him write in a style that has never been seen before or since, right? Sam, I am Sam, green eggs and ham. I would not, could not, in a boat, with a goat, all of that stuff. It adds up to 50 words total that he used to write that. And that is the piece of art that he came out with in the end, due to those constraints.
That is amazing.
Perfect example of how limitations can inspire more creativity. So just one thing I wanted to leave off there, Rich, and it's exactly the same with growing. Exactly the same with growing. So there you go, everybody. A little Dr. Seuss for you.
I said it better myself.
Rich, we're at the top of the hour, man. I know that was some good stuff. The 5 things that, again, you're probably not doing most of these. Write me and tell me. contact@growcastpodcast.com is the email. But we want you to use a moisture meter, or at least have a moisture meter. It's something that should be in your garden. We want you to start breeding your own strains, or at least try one time. Every grower should try that. Why not? You're probably not doing it. You probably should. Wear protective equipment. This is really the big takeaway for the episode. I have a feeling that a lot of people listening to this show are not doing that, and I would really recommend you do. You'll be safer, it'll save your body over the long run, and you'll look cooler. Plus, make sure that you get some sort of automated watering system available in your garden so you can enjoy a weekend to yourself. And finally, don't get pigeonholed into one style. Always switch it up. If you're in soil, try hydro. If you're in hydro, try soil. Try a bed. Try DWC. Try something new.
Yeah, even if it's just one new product,
100%. But that's a good fucking solid episode, Rich. I want to leave time for a little update ski. Of course, growcastpodcast.com. Go to Seedco, and you can find all of Rhizo Rich's offerings. Really, membership and you audience cleaned you out recently, man. They're really going after those seeds hard. I know you have another drop on the way, possibly a fem drop. Just tell us where you're at, maybe what strains you're most excited for, and what you're thinking for this pollination.
Yeah, so this pollination's, it's tough because I'm still in the middle of hunting all of the new stuff that I'm looking through. I will say yes, I think we're gonna go for a fem pollination on the next one just because so many people requested it. Seems like most people are wanting fems, and it's exciting for me because, like I've talked about before, it's a bit of a shortcut using fems since how the pollen donor flowers and looks and smells and how, the effects and all that. So you get to skip that whole male thing, which is a big shortcut. So you usually end up making awesome seeds with fem projects, but mainly because people requested them. So I think I'm going to go that way. But right now, out of the hunt, I got a key lime madness female that looks awesome. So I'm hoping that one finishes off the way I want it to. If it does, that's always a contender for a project because I know a lot of people love the key lime madness, and I still get requests for key lime madness seeds.
Mm.
And it ended up being a great strain altogether. Lots of lime came through. The phenos look amazing. Lexlo grows. His pheno was just some of the most stunning looking flower I've ever seen in my life. Like, and I'm not just saying that because, we had a hand in creating that strain. It's just like, it is, I don't care who made it. If I saw that picture, it would just be the picture of his buds was just off the wall, blew me away. So I'm hoping I can find something close to that. If not, I do have a badass double stuffed Oreos keeper female, and I have a couple other phenos that I'm going to be flowering out to look through as well. But Midnight Samurai gave me his keeper that he found, which is, you saw it over the weekend. I think you may have saw it. It just fucking blew me away too. And he made hash from it. It yielded good in hash. It washed well. The hash was fucking amazing.
That double stuff, man. That one was really good.
It was, man. And I love that. Just the way it looks. It's super exotic. It just checks all boxes. But I've also got 4 different phenos of the Banana Oreo Blizzard. And that's another one that we haven't seen any pheno that looks bad or even mid-grade with that one. And so many people still want seeds of that or a cut of it. As amazing as the strain is and how many people want it, it would also be a very good contender for doing a project with. Because I know people want to see a lot more of the Banana Oreo Blizzard, and people have already asked if we're going to do projects with it too. So that one is definitely on the top of my list, depending on those 4 phenos and how they look. Now, I do have a cousin locally that has a 5th pheno that he's getting ready to flower that he clones. So God forbid mine just for some weird reason don't check the boxes. I can go to him and see what his looks like as well. But like I said, we've never seen anything bad from that line. So I have high hopes that out of those 4, we'll see something good.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm hoping for a BOB. I don't know what I'm hoping for though, man. I'd be happy with KLM, BOB, any of it.
Yeah, it's so hard. I got so many good plants, man. I got the cookie truffle, and then I got some like in-house Oreo King and deep fried Oreos, and then some blackberry bramble from, I think, Covert, maybe. Somebody gave me the seeds, and I popped 2 of them, and one of them it smells like old school skunk and veg. So I don't know if it's going to transfer to flower or what. The other pheno does not have that smell at all, so it's super interesting. I also have some 6th Sense skunk that might be by him. Not getting any skunk in those.
No, the 6th Sense is by Cultivated, isn't it? Or maybe it's
Cultivated, and that might be who the other one was by too. I don't remember who those 2 were by, the Blackberry Bramble and the 6th Sense, but I've got a couple of those going as well.
Nice.
I got some Flechata, which I'm assuming is platinum crossed to, horchata. Farmer John gave me those. I think that's another in-house one. There's just a lot of awesome looking plants this round. So it'll be interesting to see when everybody's done flowering who's going to be the top contenders and who ends up getting picked.
I cannot wait, dude. So keep us up to date on that.
Man.
Again, I will say here at the end, growcastpodcast.com/membership. Go and jump in. It's the greatest decision you'll ever make for your grow. Rich keeps us updated on all his pollinations, all his pheno hunts there in membership. And also we've got the grand pheno hunt coming up. So it's going to be way, way worth jumping in membership now so that you can hunt these packs with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, come and engage, join along with everybody. And it's such a positive community. That is really what we focus on the most. And if you're the winner, you're going to win $1,000 plus a massive prize pack. So don't miss it.
Yeah. Dude.
Anything else, Rich, here before we wrap it up? Any final words?
No, I appreciate everybody. All the support's always fucking amazing. It just blows me away every fucking time because, every month people just keep supporting us, and Seedco just gets bigger and bigger. We do have a BOGO going on this month for the rest of the month. I guess 420. We call it the 420 BOGO, but buy one get one. You get your usual freebie, but you can also get the buy one get one deal on up to 2 packs. So we got that going on right now.
Go
But
order
other
2
than that,
packs,
I just
guys.
like I said,
Yeah, that
yeah,
is
I
the
just want to
deal.
say thanks to everybody for showing support and just being awesome, man. And at the cup, I saw so many awesome Seedco samples as well. So it's just amazing to see people growing our stuff and hype about it. Shit, I love it, and I love everybody. So I hope everybody's doing great and finding great stuff. And I appreciate each and every one of you.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. And that's exactly right. Make sure you get in on this BOGO. You don't have to do anything. No promo code, no nothing. Just order in the month of April and you'll get 2 matched packs. So it's a BOGO limit to dealer's choice. So just go buy 2 packs and you'll get your regular freebie and you'll get 2 bonus freebies. And that's a lot of seeds for a little money. Also, members get $20 off per pack. So you might as well just go join up membership, get that discount, buy 2 packs. You'll get a crap ton of seeds for $100 out the door. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, and I just want to say too, our freebies are always regular fucking packs. Like they're not special crappy seeds that I wasn't sure about that we put inside and was like, we're gonna give those away. Like you're gonna get a freebie that's on the website. So it's gonna be
some people got
something...
tech truffle for a freebie, which is you're right. It's not some strain that we don't like that we're trying to dump off on you guys now. You're gonna get good shit.
You might even get something that you're like, damn, I almost ordered that, but I really wanted this one instead, but I ended up getting that too. So like you're gonna get something good and worth it. You're not just gonna get some sappy freebie. So just want to throw that out there.
Thank you so much, Rich. Seriously, we appreciate you, man. And then, of course, at Rizo_Rich ICC.
Yes.
Rizo_Rich ICC. That's on Instagram. But honestly, he's in the Discord. That's where you can find both of us. This is the quickest way to get at us. It's the member Discord, growcastpodcast.com/membership. We'll see you there, everybody. Rich, this was a dope episode. I love doing these like countdown lists. They get a lot of good feedback. I know people loved this one. So thank you. And we'll have you back real soon, okay?
Thank you, man. I always have a good time chatting with you.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, members, and everybody out there. That's all for today. GrowcastPodcast.com. That's the website. Go check it out. I'll see you guys there. And that's it for now. This is Rizo Rich and Jordan River signing off saying, be safe out there and grow smarter.
Later on.
That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into the show. Make sure you subscribe, hit that follow button wherever you're listening to us. Share the show. We really do appreciate it. And check out Growcast membership. It's the best thing you can do in your cannabis career. I'm telling you right now, it'll be the best move you make as a grower. Growcastpodcast.com/membership. Join the greatest community in cannabis. We put the plant first. We don't beef over breeders or jump down each other's throats about our grow style. It's the one thing we don't do. And everything else is just chill in Growcast membership. You get hundreds of hours of bonus content. You get resources, members-only discount that'll save you your membership fees back and then some. You get Q&A live streams, Discord hangouts, tons and tons and tons of giveaways. It's all at growcastpodcast.com/membership. Most of all, we are a community. You'll be able to come to events, meet growmies in your area, trade cuts. And like I said, stay out if you're just going to come and yell at people about what they're growing or how they're growing. We don't do that around here. We lift each other up as gardeners. We hang out, we have fun, we trade cuts, and we leave the negativity at the door. So that sounds like a good idea to you. Come and see us at growcastpodcast.com/membership. Go watch the video. You'll see what we're all about, and I hope to see you there. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Make sure you get in membership in time for the Pheno Hunt. It's going to be a big one. I imagine they'll sell out those boxes, so don't miss it. Love you guys. Take care. And we'll see you on the next Growcast. Be safe out there. Bye.
I ate some gummies last night somebody made that were just, they knocked me on my ass.